Well, what a game that turned out to be. Let's take a look at what happened. Let's take a look at what happened and some of the stats in the New Zealand versus Argentina match. So it started off well for Argentina. They got a penalty around the 7th minute to make it 3-0. And then not long later, around the 11th minute, New Zealand got back with a try off of a maul to make it 5-3. They didn't get the conversion. And then at the 16th minute, Argentina got another penalty to make it 6-5. Not much happened scoring-wise for a wee bit, but around the 28th minute, New Zealand also got a penalty to make it 8-6. And then a couple minutes later, around the 31st minute, New Zealand scored a great try. They took advantage of a poor line-out throw from Argentina, put the ball through the backs a bit, and Caleb Clarke scored in the corner to make it 15-6 around the 30th minute mark. But then Argentina got two quick successive penalties on the 37th and 40th minute, making it 15-12 at half-time. Just after half-time, on the 43rd minute, Jordy Barrett attempted a really long-range penalty from about 55 to 60 metres out. He had the distance, but he didn't quite have the accuracy for it, so the game remained 15-12. But then around the 46th minute, New Zealand did get a penalty, making it 18-12. But straight from the kickoff off of that, Argentina managed to collect it. I think they put a man up in the air to compete with New Zealand. They managed to get it back to an Argentinian player who made a line break and scored a try directly from the kickoff, with a successful conversion from Emiliano Buffelli, making it 19-18 to Argentina. And from then on out, it's just a lot of poor discipline in kickable areas for New Zealand. The 55th minute, they gave away another penalty, and Argentina stretched their lead to 22-18. And then on the 65th minute, again, another penalty, making it 25-18. And then on the 70th minute, New Zealand got a yellow card because of repeated infringements, meaning that they would finish the game with 14 men. Then in the 79th minute, they did manage to get a penalty because of an Argentinian player committing a tackle off the ball. They went to the corner and they threw a squint throw, giving a scrum to Argentina with less than a minute to go. They took their time setting up the scrum. Matera took it out the back with about 5 seconds left. The hooter went off. Argentina kicked the ball out and won 25-18 in New Zealand. Their second win over New Zealand, their first win in New Zealand. Now, from watching the game, it looked like New Zealand really struggled with the physicality that Argentina brought to the game. And you can really tell that Argentina were going for a physical game plan by looking at some of the stats. New Zealand had 420 metres made, where Argentina only had 188. And the possession was 60% to New Zealand to 40% to Argentina. So Argentina didn't want the ball, and when they had the ball, they didn't run it a lot, they kicked it a lot. But even saying that, New Zealand also dominated the territory, with 63% territory in favour of New Zealand throughout this game. But with the difference in possession and metres ran, you'd expect there to be a big difference, like defenders beaten, but there wasn't. Argentina seemed to be a lot more efficient when they were attacking the line than New Zealand were. New Zealand had 8 defenders beaten, where Argentina had 7 defenders beaten. And both teams had 2 clean breaks. So New Zealand had a lot of the ball, but didn't really do much with it when they had it. But this might also be because of 2 fantastic defensive displays. New Zealand had a 93% tackle success rate, and Argentina had a 96% tackle success rate. But check this out. New Zealand made 87 tackles. Argentina made 195 tackles in this game. What a fantastic defensive display. Made 195 tackles of about, 203, 207, something like that. That's an insane number. New Zealand did concede penalties. Watching the game, it looked like it was a lot more than Argentina did. They conceded 14 penalties, and Argentina still conceded 12 penalties. Both of those are kind of on the high side for what you want at international rugby. You want to try and keep them in the single digits if you can. So Argentina were still quite high on the penalty count. I just think the difference was Argentina were giving more penalties away in New Zealand's half. So they were less able to go for points. And also I think New Zealand were less willing to go for points. They had times when they could have gone for points and they went to the corner and it didn't come out. And at the line out, New Zealand won 9 out of 12 and Argentina won 10 out of 12. Of course, I mentioned earlier, Argentina did concede a try off of a poor line-out throw, and New Zealand essentially lost the game off of a poor line-out throw. But yes, Argentina won the game today. What a fantastic result for them. They're still top of the table. In my Rugby Championship preview, I said they'd finish bottom. It's not looking like that's going to happen now. And if you want to see that video, you can check that out right here. Thanks for watching.